Hello and welcome to another episode of Asian Horror Stories. Today's story is My Parents Adopted a Dead Boy by Robin. I live in a small country in Southeast Asia called Singapore. A few years back, I had converted to Christianity, but I was raised in a Buddhist household like the majority of Singaporean Chinese families. Though my parents were not strict in their beliefs, they still kept an altar in the corridor of our home and offered incense to it religiously. My father owned a small business and it had been going smoothly for the past few years. We lived comfortably and were able to afford the lifestyle we wanted. Singapore is a country with very high standard of living, so everything is extremely overpriced. To be able to live a comfortable lifestyle is truly a blessing. However, since a few months back, his business had been declining. It was not a drastic decline, but it still got him worried. My father's friend had told him about this thing called the kumantong, which was known to bring good luck and fortune to the owner. Kumantong, literally translated as golden sanctified young boy, is popular in Thai religion, and although it is not part of Buddhist practices, many people still consider it as such. Authentic kumantongs originated from a practice of necromancy. According to Wikipedia, they were obtained from the desecrated fetuses of children who had died while still in their mother's womb. Witch doctors were said to be able to invoke these stillborn babies, adopt them as their own children, and use them to help with their endeavors. To make a kumantong, an unborn fetus will first be surgically removed from the womb of its mother. Then the body would be taken to a cemetery for the conduction of proper ceremonial ritual to invoke a kumantong. The body will then be roasted until it is dry while the witch doctor chants incantations. Once the rites was completed, the dry roasted fetus will be painted in yalak, which is a kind of lacquer used to cover amulets, and then it is covered in a gold leaf, thus the name Golden Little Boy. Some kumantongs are soaked in namman prai. It's a kind of oil extracted by burning a candle close to the chin of a dead child or any person who died under violent circumstances. The collection of oil is less common now because the practice is considered illegal if they were using fats from human babies. Occasionally, there are still some amulets that are obtained through authentic methods. How authentic it is, I have no idea. Nowadays, kumantongs are made by monks and evil priests from the bones, hairs of cremated powder of the baby. Some are obtained through the black market from recent abortions. My father's friend mentioned to him about the kumantong and how helpful they were in helping him get his promotion in the place he worked. He talked about his kumantong with high respect and believed that the spirit of the little boy was the one that brought him all his fortune. My father was fascinated and he wanted an easy way out of his troubles. Thus he went to a Thai temple and obtained his kumantong from a monk. When he first showed us the kumantong, I felt indifferent. My mother accepted it quite quickly because she had heard many good things about it too. At that point of time, I was not educated about it and I thought it was just like the other Buddhist deity statues that we had at our altar. My father told me that it was different and that we have to treat it as if it was alive and part of our family. He then mentioned to me that the purpose of owning a kumantong was so that we can help its spirit move on and reincarnate through our good deeds. I didn't understand what it meant, but it had something to do with karma and passing on your merits to the kumantong. The kumantong was a statue of a toddler, depicted to be about 3 years old. The statue was of a dark matte grey, but his pants and accessories were painted in gold. Gold Thai writing was painted all over his arms and back. He sat cross-legged and had his hands pressed together in front of his chest. Upon his arrival, my parents custom-made a mini otter beside the one we already had. Because he had to be treated like he was alive, my parents placed things on the otter that toddlers usually like. He was still a little boy after all. They bought pacifiers, sweets, soft drinks and toys for him and had even given him a nickname. Didi was what they called, which meant little brother in Chinese. Every meal, my mother would set aside an extra bowl for him. Sometimes my dad would ask me to play with him by rolling the toy car at his altar. They really treated him like a son. Honestly, I never really thought much about it. I had grown up in a house where we had many Buddhist statues and I was pretty much used to them. Even though I had converted to Christianity, I was not going to force my religion onto my family or say what they were doing to be wrong. It had been my decision to convert and my parents respected that. In turn, I respect their religion and I help out whenever I can. My father mentioned that his business was picking up again. He attributed it to the Kumantong and said it was because of it that his business was going well again. My mother believed that too. I didn't want to burst their bubble and tell them that it was all just a placebo effect, so I kept my mouth quiet and let them believe what they wanted to. Even though I helped my parents with taking care of the Kumantong, I never really believed in it like my parents did. It's currently my semester break from university and I have taken up a part-time job to get some extra cash. Usually I had to wake up at 6:45 a.m. to prepare myself before I head out of the house. I had to travel around an hour to the place I work, so I had specifically set that I was to leave the house by 7:30 a.m. but I was so tired that I accidentally turned off the alarm on my phone. By accidentally, I meant on purpose. You know how when you are so familiar with your phone that you know how to unconsciously press the button to turn off the alarm? That's what I did. I went back to sleep unknowing that it was actually already 7 a.m. In my sleep, I felt someone pulling my leg and I instinctively pulled back and thought nothing of it because it was only a small tug. "Stop it," I mumbled in my sleep before turning to face the other side.
姐姐，姐姐，起床了。
Upon hearing that, my eyes instantly shot open and I looked around my room. My room was empty. I was the only child and I had no siblings. Thus, it scared the shit out of me when I heard a little boy's voice whispered into my ear. I'm not sure if it was just in my mind or if I really heard someone else in my room. Before I left the house, I passed by the altars in the corridor. I stole a glance at the Kumantong. I swear its usually expressionless face was replaced with a slight smile. Needless to say, I reached work on time that day. I'm still not sure what to make out of this incident. Everything in me tells me that something that was created through such extreme means couldn't be a kind spirit. But so far, the Kumantong had brought only good luck to my family, but it has only been a week since my dad brought it home. What about you guys? Is there anyone out there who is experienced with Kumantongs and can tell me more? I will keep you guys updated if anything else happens.